Hello and welcome to my studio build. So we're a little bit late starting the studio build. There's a few time lapses of the floor, but I'm doing this video because we've just had a few issues with cameras and just really the storytelling part of it, because I'd already done a few bits without doing any sort of camera work. So let's start with the floor. So the floor, you're going to see a few time lapses in here for the floor and stuff. I've got plenty of those and a bit of the wall build. But the floor, initially, we just did into squares. Didn't realise that I had a thinner chipboard. I thought I had thicker chipboard, so it was going to be like more stable. So we've had to put extra noggins between each section just to stabilise it and make sure everything is good. So it's used twice as much tape, like the acoustic tape stuff, and then I've got to obviously adhesive and screw these all down yet. So I saw a comment, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, that was talking about D4 sealant or adhesive. It's like the industry standard here, so I'm going to look into that. So thank you very much for putting that across to me. I've got some sealant, but if that's going to work better, we'll see how it goes. And then we've got obviously the insulation in between, and we've got mass loaded vinyl on the floor. So the sub layer that is on the, you can see in the background, there's floorboards. Mass loaded vinyl on the top to isolate anything that's coming up from the space below. So there's a lot of noise coming from below. Before you could have a conversation with someone literally down below, and it's probably about 20 feet down, and you can hear clear as day and have a conversation. Now it's a lot more difficult to talk, even with the floorboards still being exposed over there. So it's working. Bit of time it will tell. I've routed the electrics, so they've got to be plumbed in, should we say just wired in, and then I'm going to run a few extra cables. I'm going to leave the side open, you'll see in a second, for audio cables as well, but most of the stuff's going to be on this side of the room. This is just going to be sort of like the visual part of the camera. So with that, we move on to the wall. The wall, time lapse again of me building the frame, or the initial part of the frame, and then the camera failed from that point, so I can't do anything about that. You can see we have quite, I'd say about 15 degrees out, maybe a bit more. It's an old building, it's like 1800s, so it's off a lot, as you can see by the frame at the top. And then the frame at the bottom, I think about 2 degrees, so not too bad on the floor, but you'd notice 15 degrees on the floor, I imagine. So not too bad, so we've got it to fit and everything's ready. Just got to build the door and put the plasterboard on this side. So I've gone for the thick stuff where it's already attached to the plasterboard, the, what do you call it? The actual insulation board. Then I'm going to put insulation in there, so rock wool in all that section. I've sealed it all, so you'll be able to see that in a second. And you'll see a video from last night where I did that, so I'm recording this the day after, just on the basis that it was a little bit non-cohesive, to say the least, about telling the story. It was just like, well, here's a bit here, here's a bit there, no context. So from here, I'll document the build a lot more. I'm not doing anything this morning, but hopefully this evening I will. The wall was probably the easiest part. The floor was more difficult than the wall. That went up in a day with the plasterboard as well. The floor probably took best part of a week to get everything sort of sorted, but mainly because of the ceiling and then the extra noggins and everything else.